Good morning, one and all. Myself, V. Surya Pawan Kumar, working as an assistant professor in CSE ML department from MLR Institute of Technology. Today, we are going to discuss about OSI reference model. So, in this video, I am going to clearly explain you the overview of an OSI model, and after that, we are going to discuss the functionalities of each and every layer. So, now what is the first layer? We call it as a physical layer. So, physical layer is also called as lower layer, or it is also called as hardware layer. So, as the position of that particular physical layer is the first layer, we call it as a lower layer, or it is also called as hardware layer. Hardware, in the sense, it is mainly responsible to establish the physical communication between the two devices. So, we have seen it in the diagrammatic representation also. So, I will show it once again. So, if you see this particular one, so physical layer for physical communication establishment. So here, if you see here, for the physical communication establishment between the two physical layers in two different devices, we use this particular physical layer, right? So what is the responsibility of the physical layer? It is responsible for connection establishment. So that means if you want to transmit the data, first you need to establish the connection and you need to maintain that particular connection. So once the maintenance is being done, once the data transmission is being done in the form of a bit, then the deactivation must be done. So connection must be deactivated, right? Apart from that, so in this the data, how it is going to be transmitted? It is going to be transmitted in the form of bits. So bits in the sense zeros and ones. So why this particular data is being transmitted in the form of the bits in physical layer is that, so the system understandable language is zeros and ones. So as it is the lowest layer, or as it is the first layer, so we call it as a first layer. So that is why this particular in physical layer the data must be transmitted in the form of bits, because the system understandable language is zeros and ones. So that is why in physical layer the data is being transmitted in the form of bits. So the bits will be in the form of zeros and ones. Right. Now coming to this particular functionalities, what are the functionalities of physical layer? We have mainly four functionalities like bit synchronization, bit rate control, physical topology and transmission medium. Now what is this particular bit synchronization? So we will have an explanation clearly about this particular bit synchronization. See here, for example, I have a sender here, I have a receiver here, sender, receiver, right? Sender can send the data and as well as receiver can receive the data, as well as it also can send the data. So bit synchronization means, so in order to overcome the collision, we use, that means, so in order to overcome the loss of data, we use this particular bit synchronization. So that means if the sender is sending the data and as well as receiver is also sending the data at the same time, both the data will collide and it leads to loss of data. So bit synchronization means, so that means sender and receiver should send the data and as well as receive the data without any loss of data. So this particular bit synchronization can be achieved with the help of a clocks. It can be achieved with the help of this particular clocks. So to maintain a synchronization between the sender and receiver, so here we are maintaining the clocks. So with the help of this particular clocks, the sender can able to transmit the data, whereas receiver will be able to receive the data without any loss. This we call it as a bit synchronization. And what is this particular bit rate control? So bit rate control, in order to overcome the flow of data, that means flooding. So that means how many number of bits that must be transmitted per unit second. So what this particular bit rate control specifies? The number of bits that can be transmitted in a second. So the number of bits that can be transmitted in a second will be specified by this particular bit rate control. That means in order to overcome the flow of data, that means flooding of the data, so we have to maintain the synchronization, or we have to overcome the problem of synchronization in this particular bit rate control. And next one is physical topology. So how you are going to arrange the computers? So the arrangement of the computers is done with the help of this particular topology. Already we have discussed in the last video, I've clearly given you the information about this particular topology, right? So the geometric representation of the relationship that exists between links and linking devices is also a topology, and how you are going to arrange the systems in the network is also a topology. So it is also the responsibility of the physical layer. So the topology maintenance, so either the systems or the nodes must be arranged either in the bus topology, either they must be arranged in bus 1, or it must be arranged in star or ring or mesh. So how we are going to arrange the systems? So the arrangement of the systems, either the systems might be arranged in the form of the bus, or it might be arranged in the form of star, or it must be arranged in the form of ring, or it must be arranged in the form of mesh. It is the responsibility of the physical layer to identify how the networks must be arranged in the network. So this particular physical topology is also one of the responsibilities of the physical layer, which clearly specifies you the flow of information and in what form or in what fashion this particular each and every networks are being arranged. Right. So the discussion about this particular topology has been given clearly in the last video. If you have any doubts, you can visit that my previous video about this particular physical topology. Now coming to this particular transmission mode, it is one of the functionalities of this particular physical layer. So what is this particular transmission mode? For example, I have a sender, I have a receiver here. So this is sender, this is receiver, right? How the data must be transmitted. Usually the mode specifies how data must be transmitted. How data must be transmitted. So this particular data might be transmitted in the form of simplex. Second one, it might be in the form of half duplex, or it might be in the form of full duplex. This we call it as a mode of transmission: simplex, half duplex and full duplex. So now we'll discuss each and every one with clear example. So if you take this particular transmission mode, so first mode is simplex kind of communication. Simplex, in the sense the data transmission will be unidirectional. The data transmission will be unidirectional. That means, so for example, I have two systems. This is system A and system B. That means data will be transmitted only in one direction, not in the opposite direction, right? That we call it as a simplex mode of communication. The best example for this particular simplex mode of communication is monitors, or the best example, another example is keyboard. So with the keyboard you will be able to give the input, with the monitor you will be able to view the output. So simplex communication means the data will be transmitted in only one directional, that is unidirectional, that is simplex. Second mode of transmission is half duplex. What is this particular half duplex? So the data will be transmitted in both the directional but not at the same time. What is the definition of this particular half duplex? The data transmission will be in both directions but not at a time. But not at a time. This is half duplex. So if you see this particular diagrammatic representation of the half duplex, so here we are having the sender and here we are having the receiver. So the data will be transmitted in both the directions but not at the same time. So the best example for this particular half duplex is walkie-talkie. So have you heard about this particular walkie-talkie anytime? How this particular functionality works? So if there are two users with respect to this particular walkie-talkie, if one person is speaking, another person must listen that particular one. Once the first speaker completes his voice, then he will say it is as over and the second person should start speaking the data. That means it will not be transmitted at the same time. So it is also similar to that of the one-way traffic. If you consider it in a real life point of view, it is similar to that of the one-way traffic. So in one-way traffic, the data will be transmitted in only one direction, right? But not and opposite direction will not be allowed at the same time, right? So this is about half duplex and full duplex. In full duplex, the data will be transmitted in both the directions and also at the same time. So for example, if you take this particular sender, so for example, here we have two systems A and B. So A can send the data and B also can send the data at the same time. A can send the data as well as receive the data, and B also can send the data and as well as receive the data at the same time. So that means the data transmission will be done in both the directions and also at the same time. So the best example for this particular full duplex is telephone line. So this is the overview of this particular functions of the physical layer. So in this particular functions of physical layer, we have seen about bit synchronization, bitrate control, physical topology and transmission mode. Now coming to the discussion regarding the second layer of our OSI model is data link layer. So what is this particular data link layer? In data link layer already, so the data link layer, the data will be transmitted in the form of frames. So whatever the data that is being there in the physical layer in the form of bits will be converted into frames in this particular data link layer. The main responsibilities of this particular data link layer are error-free transmission. So that means that there should not be any errors while the data is being transmitting between the sender and receiver. Reliability in the sense, if it's going to perform its specifications under any conditions, that means 100% the data must be transmitted. Then it is reliable and it is also useful for efficient communication. So these are all the main uses of this particular. So this is what you are going to achieve with the help of this particular data link layer. So now coming to this particular functionalities of each and every layer, mainly we are having four functionalities. One is framing, error control, flow control and access control. So coming to this particular discussion regarding this particular framing. So see, so how the data is being transmitted in the data link layer in the form of bits, right? To this particular bits, a header part will be included and trailer part will be included. The combination of this header, trailer and bits, we call it as a frame. The combination of bits, header and trailer, we call it as a frame. So this is, we call it as a framing. So what is included in this particular header? Header includes source address, destination address. Whereas in trailer, we will include some error correction and error detection mechanisms. We will include some error correction and error detection mechanisms, right? So source address is nothing but sender address, destination address is nothing but the receiver address. So in trailer, as we want to provide error-free transmission, we are supposed to include some error correction and error detection mechanisms. So this, the combination of header part, bits and trailer part is nothing but a framing. Next, what is this particular error control? Already we have seen. So it is one of the functionalities of this particular data link layer. So what is error control mechanism? So this particular error control mechanism. So for example, whenever the sender sends the data to the receiver should be identify whether the received data is free from errors or not. So how this particular receiver is going to identify that particular data transmitted is error free or not? So already we have seen the frame. So how the frame will be? Header part, bits and trailer part, right? So in this particular trailer part, you are going to include some CRC bits. So for this, already I told you that in trailer part we will be including some error correction and error detection mechanisms. So in that particular, one of the main techniques for error correction and error detection is CRC. This is cyclic redundancy check. So CRC bits will be included in the trailer, and with the help of that particular CRC bit, so the receiver will be able to identify whether the received data is free from errors or not. So if the received frame is not free from errors, what the receiver will do is that he will ask the sender again to retransmit the data, right? So the only solution for this particular error control is that retransmission of the data. Right? So that is what the error control mechanism is. And coming to the discussion regarding the flow control mechanism. So what is the flow control mechanism is that, so for example here we are having the sender and here we are having the receiver. So in whatever the speed that the sender is transmitting the data, at the same speed the receiver must receive the data. At the same speed, the receiver must receive the data. What will happen if the sender, say for example, if the sender is sending 100 frames of data at a time, but the receiver can receive only 50 frames of the data at a time? What happens? Rest of the 50 frames of the data will be lost. Right? To overcome that flow control mechanism, we have different protocols like data link layer protocols, like so that means a stop and wait protocol. So stop and wait ARQ, go back and ARQ, selective repeat ARQ. So we have different data link layer protocols that will be discussed in the second unit, data link layer, right? So that is about flow control. So the main important of this particular flow control is to maintain the constant speed, constant bit rate between the sender and receiver. In whatever the fashion, in whatever the speed that the sender is transmitting the data, at the same speed the receiver must receive the data. That is about flow control mechanism. What is this particular access control mechanism? Access control in the sense, say for example, this is the communication medium. This is the communication medium. So this particular communication medium is being shared by n systems. So for example, here we are having 3 systems. So for example, this is system A, system B, system C. Right? Here we are having the 3 systems. Right? Which system should access this particular medium first? So on what priorities this particular system should assign to access that particular communication medium. So for what purpose this particular communication medium is being using? For transmission of the data. So either the system A must use, or system B must use, or system C must use. So the access control. So which system has access will be given as an access rights to access this particular communication link for transfer of data and as well as for receiving the data. So these are some of the functionalities of the data link layer. So till this video we have discussed about the data link layer. In the coming videos we are going to discuss about the rest of the layers functionalities. Thank you.